Hi everyone! So today we're going to talk about CodeIgniter Model Setup Database. Okay, CodeIgniter Model. Models are optionally available for those who want to use a more traditional MVC approach. The model represents your data structure. Typically, your model classes will contain functions that help you retrieve, insert, and update information in your database. For example, let's say you use CodeIgniter to make a blog. You might have a model class that contains functions to insert, update, and retrieve your blog data. Okay? Okay, anatomy of model. Model classes are stored in your application models directory. Then they can be nested within subdirectories if you want this type of organization. So the basic prototype for a model class is this. So class model name extends CI model. Then where model name is the name of your class, class names must have the first letter capitalized and the rest are lowercase. Make sure your class extends the base model class, which is the CI model. Okay? Okay, so the file name should match the class name. So kung ito yung class natin, which is blog model, then our file name should be something like this, blog_model.php. Okay? Now let's try to create our model file. So let's go to the application folder, look for models directory, and then within that directory, we're going to create our file and having this class. So meron tayong class na blog model, extend the CI model. Then as you can notice, our file name will be blogmodel.php. Okay? And also guys, please include this line of code for security purpose. Okay? Okay, now let's talk about the database part. Okay, so since we already have the idea on the part of the model, what is the naming convention of the model, where we're going to save it, mga ganon, we already have those idea. Now let's talk about the database. Okay, so the first thing that we should do, of course, is to open up the SAMP control panel if you're going to use SAMP. Then make sure that we start the Apache and MySQL. Now once we already do that, we try to to open a browser and type in the address bar localhost/phpMyAdmin. Then it will be redirected to this page. So this is where we're going to manage our database. So I'm sure guys, you already manage a database but using yung command prompt or di kaya yung shell. Okay? So ngayon, we're going to use the GUI on managing our database. So all we need to do in creating a database is just click this one, the new link. Then it will redirect us to this page. Then we're going to specify here the database that we want to create. So on my end, I'm going to set it as my first CI project, same name with my project name. Then click create. And after that, we will be redirected to this page, and here we're going to specify our table. Okay, so I'm going to create a post tables with having a number of columns of 5. Then go, click go. Now we're going to set the fields that we want. Okay, so I set here an ID with having a type of integer, then yung length niya is 10. Then I also set it as the primary key and also auto increment. Then I also have a field for title, having a type of varchar and a length of 100. Then I have the content. Then the type is text. I didn't specify yung length niya. Therefore, I can save um, a number of characters on that particular field. Okay. Then I also have a field for created at, which have a type of timestamp and a default time or value for this field of current timestamp. Wherein every time na nag-i-insert ako ng record, automatically magkakaroon ng value dito based on the current time when it was inserted. Okay? Then I also have the updated at, wherein meron din siyang current timestamp and timestamp, then for the value is a current timestamp. So every time nagkakaroon ng inserting of record, malalagay din dito yung current time when it was inserted. But yung attribute natin dito for the updated at is on update current timestamp. Wherein what once magkaroon ng pag-update ng record, iga-update din niya yung value ng field na to based on the time when it was updated. Okay? Then if you're already okay with the setup, then just click save. So we have now our the structure of our post table. Okay? Okay, so we are now done with creating our table and database. Now let's try to set up the database configuration in the part of the CodeIgniter. So CodeIgniter has a config file that lets you store your database connection values, like yung username, password, database, etc. The config file is located at application/config/database.php. Okay, now let's try to visit that file. So ito yung makikita nating code on this particular file, which is the database.php. So all we need to do is to set up the hostname, username, password in database. Okay, if there's a requirement or it requires us to set up the DSN, then we should. Okay, now let's try to set this data. For the host name, going to set localhost. It is because the database and the system are in a one server naman. Kaya localhost yung nilagay ko. Then the username by default has a root. Then yung password is just an empty string. Then for the database, of course, yung database na ginawa ko kanina, which is the My First CI project. Okay, then we just need to save that one. Okay. Okay, so some database drivers such as PDO, PostgreSQL, Oracle, or DBC might require a full DSN string to be provided. If that's the case, you should use the DSN configuration setting as if you're using the driver's underlying native PHP extension, which is something like this. Okay? Okay, note. If you do not specify a DSN string for a driver that requires it, CodeIgniter will try to build it with the rest of the provided settings. So if you provide a DSN string and it is missing some valid settings, sample the database character set, which are present in the rest of the configuration fields, CodeIgniter will append them. Okay? Okay, now, so let's talk about the database connection since we're already done configuring or in the part of the configuration of our database. Now let's talk about how we're going to connect to our database every time we need to use or to make a query to the database. Okay, so there are two ways. We have the manually connecting and the automatically connecting. Okay, so let's start with the manually connecting. If only some of your pages requires database connectivity, you can manually connect to your database by adding this line of code, which is the this load database, in any function where it is needed, okay? Or in your class constructor to make the database available globally in that class. Okay, so let's have our example. So ito yung model natin kanina. So let's try the first one. So this is how we do it. So gagawa lang tayo ng model. Nung method for the specific model. Then Para magamit natin yung database, we just need to include this line of code, this load database. And after that, we can have the query. Okay, we can already have the query and manage the result. Okay, so the second way is doing it in the part the constructor method. Something like this. So we try to remove yung na dito kanina and put it up here sa constructor method. Now just make sure if you're going to do this to call the parent constructor method so that we will not override the constructor method of the parent class, which is the CI model. Okay? Okay, now let's talk about the other way, which is the automatically connecting. So the auto-connect features will load and instantiate the database class with every page load. To enable auto-connecting, add word database to the library array as indicated in the following file location at application/config/autoload.php. So let's try to visit that file. So ito yung autoload.php na makikita natin under the config directory. So we just need to look for this one, this variable, autoload array, and having a key of libraries. So all we need to do is to add an item of database. Okay, so once we do that, yung database natin is already loaded or will be loaded every time the page loads. Therefore, it will be available na for the entire system whenever we like to use it. Okay. Okay, so I think that's it, guys. So I hope you learned something new today regarding our topic, which is about CodeIgniter Model Setup Database. Okay, so if you did, please click thumbs up and please don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you will be notified if there are new videos that we're going to upload. Okay, so just like I always say, guys, just keep practicing and never stop learning. Thank you for watching, guys, and goodbye for now.